right. Colton Dixon, so great to have you here
Good to
today.
be here. How's everybody? Doing all right? Yeah? Cool.
Doing all right?
Awesome.
Oh, thanks so much for your time today. Congrats on the new album.
Thank
It's called
you.
Identity.
Yes.
You said you've had the most fun of all making this record. This is your third record.
Third record, yeah.
Why is that?
Man, as a musician, I tend to lean toward the power ballads, just naturally as I write music. But for whatever reason, I mean, a big reason was probably I got married a year ago. But man, life has just been really fun. So I don't know, just something else to pull from. But music has been something really fun. It's not as dramatic or I don't know how else to put it. It's just fun. So that definitely went into the record, and yeah, I think the songs really upbeat, and they're if you're working out or if you're running, whatever, it's just really fun to listen to. So yeah.
Were you thinking about that while making this album, like where people are going to be listening to it or how they are?
No, and what's funny is this. I write from a very personal place. So this is kind of just a journey over discovering where I put my identity, and the music just kind of followed suit. It's a fun journey, discovering who you are and why you do what you do and why you think the way you think, and I've just really enjoyed the process.
So what did you learn about yourself while making this album?
Man, a lot. One of the hardest lessons I had to learn was to shut up and listen. It's so funny. In this industry, it's so easy to be busy. Fill your schedule with X, Y, and Z.
Sure.
But man, to stop and listen. And for me, faith is a big part of what I do. So just to stop and listen to what God has for me is just so important. Because if you don't do that, you're going to miss it. So just making sure you're tapping into that. And but that was definitely the hardest thing I've had to learn thus far in my career, because it's been nonstop.
Why do you think faith has been such a driving force for you throughout your career, and why do you still channel that?
Yeah, well, man, the simple question is just God has done so much for me. Without preaching to you guys, I see what He's done for me, and I can't not sing about it. I was born and raised in church and loved Christian music growing up, but man, it's a decision for everyone. It's personal, and not trying to force it on anyone. I hope my music encourages you, regardless if you believe in God or not. But for me, I do, and I just know what He's done for me, and I'm going to talk about it. So yeah.
See, we got some fans in the
Awesome.
crowd
Yeah,
for
thank
sure. I feel like that community is really tight, the Christian rock and the Christian artist community. How have the other artists in that genre have supported you through the years?
Oh man, it's the coolest thing getting to tour with some of those artists, because I grew up listening to a lot of them. Toby Mac with DC Talk and the Newsboys and Third Day. I've toured with so many of these people, and I have to pinch myself sometimes, because those were the people I listened to. But they're so supportive. What's so cool about what we all do, we're a genre, but it's kind of like its own world of music, because every genre within the Christian music world. So there's rap, hip hop, there's screamo music, there's contemporary folk, there's you name it, it's there. So we all have our lanes. So we're just cheering each other on. We're all doing it for the same purpose, same meaning behind the message, but we all have a different way of doing things. So it's really cool to root each other on. So.
Before you came on, we heard All That Matters. It's the lead single off of the new record. How did that song come about for you?
Yeah, honestly, it came from just a really great reminder for me. It says in the Bible, it says basically no matter who you are or what you've done, you matter. So just that simple thing of like, man, like it doesn't matter what you've done in your past, like how bad or ugly or even how messed up you might be right now. I'm a messed up person. I'll be the first to admit it. But man, just knowing that regardless of any of that, like I matter to the God who created the universe. Like how beautiful is that, right? So it was just simply that. And I wrote a song about it, and it's been a really cool song to see other people sing, just like going through crap. And they're like, man, it's just a great reminder, and that's gonna pull me through. So
really relatable to a lot of people. You got married in January 2016. Congratulations.
Yes, I did. Thank you so much.
It sounds like how has that changed your life, and maybe how has it affected the music?
Yes. A lot. Marriage is awesome. My wife Annie is hanging in the back there, but it's absolutely amazing, and we've learned so much, and it's not what we thought it would be, and it's everything we thought it would be, and everything in between, and we've just learned so much. But as far as it pertains to the music, it's just, I don't know, it's just a different thing to pull from. Just going back to the sound of this record, it's so much more fun than the older ones. I think that probably plays a big part into it. I have someone else to enjoy life with, and I get to have her out on the road, and it's just been so much fun. And yeah, it's just a crazy thing. We're looking to many more years to come, and hopefully I learn a lot more.
Yeah, well, I mean, it does. It's just, being the first year, I'm sure there are challenges too in that way.
Yeah, everyone's different, and everyone's marriage is different, and we've learned a lot our first year, and I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot more in the second. So I'm just preparing, and it's going to be really good.
So there's another song on the record that was inspired by your wife's brother, right, who passed away. So that's a heartfelt song. Can you talk a little bit about how that came to be, and perhaps if it were therapeutic for you guys?
Yeah. So right before I met my wife, her younger brother Dylan went to heaven, and it was really sudden, really tragic. But man, when I met her, it was just amazing to see her and her family walk through that with such grace and such freedom. I don't really know the word to even describe it. It was just really beautiful. For most people, that's not the case, right? There's years and years and years of just, kicking you in the gut, right? But when Jesus came for us, he defeated death in the grave, right? So they chose to stand on the side of victory. I'm preaching, I'm sorry, but I'm doing it. But that's where we're standing. So we're going to get to see Dylan again one day. I never got to meet him, so I'm looking forward to meeting him one day. But, man, it's just a beautiful thing whenever you look at death that way. I feel like there's a guy I'm on tour with who has a book called We All Want to Go to Heaven, but No One Wants to Die. It's a really true statement, isn't it? Everyone fears this thing called death and what it may look like for you. But, man, if you know where you're going, what do you have to worry about? Because that's a much better place than here, even though I love New York City. But come on. It's going to be awesome, right? So I don't know. I'm really looking forward to it, but that kind of inspired this song called The Other Side. We were getting ready for bed one night, and it was just like, bam, there was the chorus. And I was like, whoa. So I started singing it for my wife. We were crying together, but it was just just another reminder that, hey, we know where we're going, and it's going to be beautiful, and we're just going to look at that instead of this thing called death that's already been taken care of anyway. So, yeah.
This album has a bigger pop sound, I think, than we've heard from Colton Dixon before. Can you talk a little about how you channeled that sound?
Yes. It's kind of scary, honestly. I'm way more of the rock guy than normal, or mostly. So to channel a pop thing was just way different for me. And it didn't start that way. When I first started writing this record, there's a song on the deluxe album called In My Veins, which has like a muse. It's still pretty rock and edgy. That's kind of where the vibe was going, or so I thought. And then I started just kind of discovering who I was and why I do what I do, and thinking about our nation and what makes us tick and all these different things. And it just took off and became this pop record. So it was so fun. I had really great people around me to help channel that. It's so, I don't know, some of my favorite bands, when they change their sound, I'm always so nervous. I won't name names, but I'm like, oh no, they're selling out, or they're doing this, and sometimes those are the records that grow on you and they become your favorites. So I'm hoping that's what this record is for some people. It's already become one of my favorites that I've done so far. But there's just, beyond the sound, there's a truth to it that I think needs to be heard. But I've really enjoyed the music and cannot wait to play it live.
Yeah, you said we were talking a little bit about stage, and the only song that you've really played live quite a bit is the single "All That Matters," and you got that one down pat.
Yeah, we've played that one 43 times live now, so we're ready to take on another one. But we're looking forward to rehearsing that record here soon, and just trying to reinvent these songs and to bring them to life to you guys live. So it'll be really fun.
So what's it like on the road now? You're bringing your wife on the road with you. Does she come all the time? And how has that been different? And how has it been great?
Yeah, I love having my wife out. It's amazing. She's on a bus with 11 sweaty boys, so good on her. She's awesome. But she comes out 99% of the time. She really loves Los Angeles, so she might get out there occasionally. But man, we love having her out. Like I said, it's just great to have someone else who's there, who's not involved with the business, who's just like, hey, let's go get coffee today. Right. Okay, great. Let's get away from the venue or the tour bus because that's all we see. Or let's go do this, or let's watch this, or let's talk about this. It's just great to escape from what I do for a second and to enjoy time with her. And she's also just great accountability for me as well. Man, there have been many times where I'm thinking one way, and she'll just wait till I'm done, look at me, and I'm like, dang it.
Like, wait
You're
a second,
right.
I may have to rethink that.
But it's been amazing. We love having her out, yeah.
That's great. Well, a lot of the fans really got to know you from American Idol, of course.
Yeah.
So it's been how many years now? 5
years. That's
It's
insane.
Does it feel like that long?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
It feels like a lifetime ago and yesterday all at the same time. I don't know how else to explain it. I can't believe it's been that long. But man, what a fun journey, though. Crazy.
And we saw you go back on the series finale last year. You performed. What was that like going back to the Idol stage?
Man, I thought they did such a great job with that final show. Was honored to be a part of it. But my family and I watched from the beginning. I'll be honest, I didn't watch after I was on the show. It was still just too soon. But it was just really cool the way they handled that. It was cool to see all of those contestants and that big body of artists come together. It's like, wow. It's like, this is why you're the #1 talent show in America, because look at all of the different artists that have come from this. It was just so cool. But yeah, it was great seeing people that I never thought I would meet in my life, watching them when I was 13, 14 years old. It was just way cool. So it was rad.
That's really great. So what do you remember most about being on the show? What stands out to you when you look back now, 5 years later? Okay. Was it the judges panel? Was it a certain song that you performed?
It was honestly this is going to sound so cheesy, but it's true. It was the people, the contestants, and even the people backstage. And that's one of the things I loved about getting to go back as well, is not only getting to see the other contestants I was on the show with, but getting to see the crew. And because, man, they work hard. The crew here, I'm sure you guys work hard to make this thing happen.
Yeah.
So it was just a different perspective being one of the stars of the show and seeing these guys who got unrecognized for however many seasons. Just wild. But they're amazing people. So it was just great to, I don't know, do life with them for a couple months and have them root you on. And it was just a really cool thing. But that family was just awesome. So.
Do you still keep in touch with some of the fellow contestants to this day?
Yeah, every once in a while we will. I wish it was more often, to be honest.
Sure.
But yeah, every once in a while we'll kind of tap in, or if someone drops a record or something, they'll reach out. It's a really, really cool thing.
Were you nervous before releasing this record? It just came out last Friday, right? Were you like, oh my gosh, fans are going to hear this for the first time? What are they thinking?
It's like that every time,
yeah.
Especially this go around because the sound's so different. But yeah, I mean, you spend so much time and you pour your heart and soul into this, and there's a good chance that people are going to be like, it's not my thing, and sure. Continue on, and that's cool. You know what? It's awesome. It's not for everybody, but man, I hope the people that do dig it, I hope it just goes deep and they just devour it, But there's always that healthy fear. But yeah, like I said, it's a personal thing. Just being about identity. So if nothing else, I was kind of able to journal and hopefully progress in my own life through this project, and hopefully people can catch on to that as well.
And grow as a songwriter too, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
You tell me.
Yeah. Well, there's 17 tracks on this album, right? So
yeah.
It's not like it's it's not. It has a lot of tracks on it.
Yeah,
so
there's
you
a lot
poured your heart and soul and into it. Do you personally have a favorite song on the album?
Oh, it's so hard. Man, I feel like it changes every day.
Yeah.
There's a song that's very special. It's only on the deluxe version. I'm just glad we got it on there, but it's called Autopsy. It's a piano ballad with a little string quartet. but it is just unlike anything I've ever written before. But it's just a song about like we're more than just these bodies that we live in. You know, we're gonna carry on eternally. So just to kind of get your head space just over that, thinking in that way, was just a really cool thing to write about. One of my favorite lines in the whole record is, "We're all one heartbeat from heaven." You know, so just like we're not guaranteed anything. So just a really cool song. Hope you guys dig it if you haven't heard it yet. But yeah, that's probably one of my favorites.
Back to Idol, you know, there was a little stop and go for a bit, right? So you had audition, and then you went back, and then you finished seventh. Yeah. And you know, now we're here talking on the stage. You're out, you know, putting out your third album. What was it that drove you not to give up?
Oh gosh. Well, my sister would have killed me if I would have given up. If you watched, I tried out with my sister,
Yeah.
and she got cut in Vegas that year. So she was right at the top 40 mark, and that was just brutal.
Sure.
So if I would have quit, she would have killed me right there on the spot. But man, just the coolest thing is, and like I said, even in this interview, I never try to be preachy or force my beliefs on anyone, but there's just something really innocent and special about the way Idol kind of panned out. I felt like I just needed to kind of live normal, live my life how I would, and if that spoke to someone, great, and if it didn't, great.
Sure.
But there's so many opportunities that opened up. That's kind of what kept me like on my toes. It's like, wow, this person on the crew is asking me like, how come I don't go out and party with everyone else? Or how come, like, I don't drink? Or how come I don't do these things? And just kind of a door. Just to be like, hey, this is kind of why I do or don't do it. And not for everyone, but here you go. And it was just really cool how those conversations started up. But that was probably one of my favorite parts about going through that show, how just natural and organic all those conversations started up.
Yeah, and at this point, you know, you started performing at such a young age, right? In choirs and everything. Yeah. For anybody who doesn't know, what was your first sort of musical moment, or that moment you're like, oh, I need to be doing this?
Yeah, here we go. This is crazy. So I could not sing to save my life. I was one of those kids who sang in the shower, and that was it for a good reason. But I took piano lessons for a few years, and my teacher decided, it was a song called "I Can Only Imagine" by Mercy Me. Whether you're a Christian music listener or not, you've probably heard that song at one point or another. But it's a really hard song to sing, right? Especially when you're right at that 13 puberty mark, right? Yeah. It's just impossible. So I'm going to play the song, and he's like, hey, you need to sing this as well. And I'm like, oh, man, that's not a good idea. Yeah. Like, let's just not. But I did. And, man, that's when I knew that this was it. It's the weirdest thing, but I don't even know if it sounded any good. I haven't seen the tape, but I just knew that this was it, and that's whenever I laid down the baseball glove and went toward music. But I think everyone kind of has that a moment similar to where it's just like, this just feels like a part of me. Mm-hmm. So that was it. I was 13, and I remember exactly where I was, too, in Smyrna, Tennessee. Huh. So really cool.
That's great. I like how you said a lot of people probably can relate to that on, you know, musicians on some level, one way, shape, or form.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Where did I read that you were on, like, you were an extra Hannah Montana movie, right?
Yep, you're right.
So what was that experience like? I know. That's what I'm hearing. So I've probably seen the film, but it's been a long time. So what was the deal with that?
It's one of those things that you have to really like pause to like really. Not that I've done this, but. Anyway, but yeah, I was an extra in the Hannah Montana movie. We got paid to eat cotton candy and ride Ferris wheel rides all week. It was pretty awesome, actually. I would do it again in a heartbeat. I would. But my sister and I did it, and we were, I don't know, 15 or 16 when I did it. What a cool experience! I'd never seen anything like that, and just great experience.
Did you get to meet Miley?
I didn't. I'm pretty sure I got to meet Billy Ray. I think I did, and it was interesting observing her just because she's so young at the time and has all these decisions. And I remember that being very interesting, just seeing all the stress and all the things on her plate and thinking, man, I'm glad I'll never have to deal with that. But yeah, it was just a really, really cool thing to be a part of.
Spoke too soon, right?
Yeah, apparently.
Now, how many years later? 10 years later. All right, our portion is done, but I'd love to get a couple of questions from the crowd.
Yeah.
All right.
Colton,
Hey.
I was wondering about the awesome cover art for this album.
Yeah.
What was your process in making it?
Yeah, man, what's so cool about this album cover versus my previous two, I always like to go for it on album art. I think it's so fun. It's a fun way to catch people's eye. There was no post-production done on this, on any of the photos done for my album packaging. We used a projector. I got to work with the photographer Jeremy Cowart, who's a very well-known photographer, and he just killed it. But we projected all of these images onto me, and literally that's what it looked like there. So he did such a great job, just in the pre-production, just setting everything up and making sure everything was going to be perfect. And it was literally the easiest photo shoot I ever had to do, because I mean, my eyes could be closed right now, and you wouldn't know it, right? It's just amazing. It's about everything around me, so he just killed it. But yeah, it's a little bit kind of behind the photo shoot. So,
Cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Colton.
Hey, man.
Thank you for being here. What are the top 5 items you must have on tour?
Top 5. Oh man, clean socks and underwear is one. My wife. Gosh, I haven't been through this in a while. This is gonna be interesting. My Bible. My piano is an important one, and transportation is going to have to be the last one to get to and from the venues.
Sounds good. We got one more question.
Over here.
Hey.
Hi. Thank you for being here.
Thank you guys. Yeah.
So I like that you mentioned before how you went from kind of an authentic, what you'd think of like a rock and roll sound, to a more pop album. Is there
Yeah.
any kind of genres you'd like to experiment with that you maybe haven't had a chance to?
That's interesting. I love listening to heavy rock. Not necessarily classic sounding, but more the modern heavy stuff. I don't know why. It just gets my blood pumping. I just love it. I'm sure one day I'm going to make something just for me. I don't know. I love it. I've worked with people from genres all over. I did a song with hip-hop artist Derek Minor, and that was really fun, really outside of my element, but that was really cool to do that. But I'm open for whatever. Music is just a really cool tool to kind of share what's on your heart. So whenever I'm writing, when you listen to one of my records, very rarely do songs sound the same. And that's on purpose, because if I write a song called Noise, and then I have a song called Through All of It, which are both some of my songs, Noise needs to sound like noise, right? It needs to be loud, and it needs to be rock. But Through All of It is this piano ballad. It's like, how do these fit on the same record? But they do, just because of the message that goes through everything. So I kind of let the songs take me whatever direction they need to go. But yeah, this is kind of the way I write. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but it's the way I do it. So.
Well, thank you all for your questions. And Colton, thank you so much for coming by, Bill, today.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Get the album. It's out now.
Yeah.
Called Identity. Let's give him another round of applause.
Man, thank you guys so much. Appreciate y'all.